my God, they're screaming!
How can we begin to understand the scale of the disaster that began in the early hours of this morning? What went wrong, and might it happen again? First, it's worth knowing that buildings like this are designed to contain fires. The idea is that if a fire breaks out, the fire brigade will have the time to combat it before it spreads. That's why the building had a so-called stay-put policy. People were supposed to stay in their flats until the fire was dealt with.
In this case, the tragic situation seems to be that the stay-put strategy that was in place, in fact, has led to people being in the building as smoke and flames penetrated right the way through the property. The normal strategy there is that, particularly with a tall building, then some people may be less able than others to be able to escape down staircases through, say, 24 stories of a building. And therefore, stay put is a recognised strategy where people may be less able, in a way, to rapidly escape down a staircase.
The issue is that the fire did not stay contained. It raced through the building. So that stay-put system broke down. And the critical question is why? The prime candidate for allowing the fire to spread is the so-called cladding, the insulation applied to the exterior of the building. This was added recently in 2015.
I think the attention on the cladding is because we've seen in the reports and the photographs burning exterior of the building, and we've seen enormous areas where the exterior is destroyed. Of course, the system that we've used, and we use widely in this country, and it's an accepted system, is an aluminium composite panel system. And that system effectively is it's a thin panel, so it's probably 6 millimeters thick or so. And typically, it's made of 2 sheets of aluminium with a core in between. And that core is critical as to what it's made of. Because if we look at some of the fires elsewhere around the world, and look at some of the fires in China or the Middle East, for example, that have been quite devastating, the core frequently has been a combustible type of plastic material.
Newsnight has learned that the specific cladding in use in Kensington was a product called Rhenobond. And in fact, there are 2 different versions of the cladding. The first is very fireproof. The second, which has a polyethylene core, is a bit less fireproof. And we've established it's the second, less fireproof version of the cladding that they used. There have been questions about polyethylene core cladding from abroad. For example, following fires like this one in Dubai. Watch this polyethylene fire from France in 2012. It starts small, then quickly jumps up floors via the outside of the building, and within minutes, it's racing up the exterior. But the contractors who fitted the cladding in Kensington insist that their materials and work met the required standards. All modern British cladding is supposed to be of limited combustibility. Whether our fire regulation is in the right place, though, has been an open question since a smaller disaster in London in 2009. 6 people died in the Lakanal House fire. Since then, though, not much has happened.
That led to a very, very detailed coroner's inquest and report. And part of that, they said that there should be a review of Part B of the regulations which govern high-rise buildings.
That's the fire regulations?
There's fire regulations, which hasn't yet been done. In October of this year, then Housing Minister Gavin Barwell said that it would be, but the sector's still waiting for that. And it was only in March this year, I think, members of the all-party parliamentary group on fire safety were warning that lives would be at risk if it wasn't.
The Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, which owns the building, has big questions to answer. The government's response to Lakanal House deserves probing too. We really need answers to make sure that other places don't suffer as Kensington has.